What's going on, fight fans here in Dallas? And joining us now, host of the MMA Hour, and he's the face of every other platform, our guy, Mr. Ariel Helwani. Welcome.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
One day I want to make it on the DAZN Boxing Show and be big enough to where I get my own microphone.
Oh,
I haven't
no,
reached
that
that point
doesn't
yet.
happen.
I haven't reached that point
No,
yet.
no, no.
You've only done that for Canelo?
No,
Super tight here.
it depends on how many pay-per-views we sell on this fight. You know, then.
By the way, why do you get your own microphone?
Oh, because I'm the man. That's
Okay,
why.
all right. Just wanted to
right,
make sure.
yeah,
He's got to share. He's not quite on your level.
I'm not there yet. I've been striving
yet.
for 5
Maybe
years.
next year.
Maybe next time. So look, obviously this is a big fight. I'm impressed that Jake chose a guy like Nate, who has a rep of sparring with Ward and being good with his hands after that loss. Is it safe to say that we've forgotten about the Tommy Fury loss?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to find out very soon. But I was surprised because it seemed after the Tommy Fury fight that he was all in on the rematch. But if I'm being honest, I'm really happy he didn't go in the direction. I don't know how you guys feel. I didn't really have much interest in seeing that again. I feel like we saw it. Maybe we revisit it in a year or two. But to me, like, this is so special. I mean, like, I'm looking at that right there. It feels like a kid made this. It feels like it's Photoshop. Nate Diaz on a poster with Jake Paul. Like, if you would have told me this 2 years ago that this would be a thing, I would have said you're crazy. So this is fun. It feels like a spectacle. It feels like a big deal. Sign me up.
I mean, is it something that you think the fans are going to be interested in? Boxing fans and MMA fans. I mean, we had Andre Ward said he's trained with Nate Diaz and he could really box.
I think this is, if I'm being honest, more of an MMA fan thing.
Okay.
Obviously, they are boxing, but the MMA media tends to cover Jake a lot more than the boxing media.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Diaz is like one of the biggest stars in the history of the UFC. And this is his first fight post-UFC where he took the leap and bet on himself and became a free agent, which rarely happens. So I think this is going to be more of a MMA community thing. But ultimately, once the time comes, especially if there's no competition on the day, I think the combat sports world will be very interested in this fight.
Do you think that, let's talk technical, X's and O's, right? You've covered Nate his whole career. Boxing-wise and striking-wise, when you see both fighters, do you think that Nate is the better boxer or Jake?
So I guess it depends on what you mean by the better boxer, because as far as MMA boxing is concerned, Nate is obviously one of the best. He likes to throw a lot of volume. He's not exactly the most technical guy, but he just likes to almost like suffocate you, right? He's like, but in terms of like, if I think a boxing purist would watch him, they would say, well, he's not exactly the most technical. But for MMA boxing, he's very technical, if that makes sense. Because I think there's a big difference between the two. I think there's a massive difference between the two. Obviously, and I have some allergies here, so my apologies. Jake has been doing pro boxing longer, right? This is Nate's first pro boxing bout, but he's been competing for longer. So I'm really curious about two things. How will Nate look as a boxer in a ring where he doesn't have to worry about takedowns and knees and elbows? And also the size is a big thing. Nate has never fought above 170 pounds. This is a 185-pound fight. Will that play a factor? So there's a lot of questions that I don't think I have the answers to just yet.
As of what you've seen already for both of them, how would you rate their power compared to each other?
I would say Jake probably has more power. Nate isn't necessarily known for knockout power. Again, he's known for volume, punches and bunches. And then again, what does the weight, how does that apply, right? Does it favor Jake fighting at 185, or does it favor, will Nate have more power now that he's fighting at a higher weight class? But historically, Nate, and he has knocked out some guys, he likes to suffocate you, stifle you, rock you, take you down, and then submit you.
If you had to compare him to a boxer, maybe like a David Benavidez, not necessarily a one-punch knockout power.
Not a one-punch knockout guy. Like what we saw with Jake and Tyron Woodley in the second fight, you're not necessarily going to see that with Nathan Diaz. You're just not. But you're going to see a guy throw a lot. Like the first Tyron and the second Tyron fight, there wasn't a lot of activity, right, on both ends, but especially Tyron. You're going to see a lot of activity from Nate. I can assure you of that.
What about the MMA community, right? Let's say Jake goes out there and scores one of those Tyron Woodley knockouts against Nate. Are the MMA fans going to be disappointed? Are some of them going to disown him? How are they going to react to that?
They're going to be, that emoji, like the guy with the fire coming out of his head, that's going to be the MMA fans. If that happens, because they love Nathan Diaz. You have to remember, if you're someone who just looks at Diaz's record and doesn't know much about him, you would say to yourself, like, what is it about this guy? He has double-digit losses. How many great boxers have double-digit losses? But Nate he is like he's the MMA fans like prodigal son. They adore him, and his brother Nick adore him. He can almost do no wrong. Even when he had his incident in New Orleans, everyone was defending him online. They were like, "Don't you touch Nate!" Like Nate could do no wrong.
Did it not look? I mean, I only seen probably a clip or two, but didn't it look like self-defense? Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Backed himself up into a wall.
Listen, Nate's not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
I know he's had his things, but he recognizes the power that he has and like the weapons that he possesses. He's not going around causing fights with civilians. That being said, MMA fans love him, and they don't necessarily love Jake. Right. Let's just be real. And if he's not Tyron to them, he's not Ben Askren certainly, and he's not Anderson Silva. If Jake does what he did to Tyron in the second fight and what he did to Ben Askren to Nate, I would say the MMA community is going to be very upset about that. And by the way, there's a lot of pressure on Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're coming over here, you should beat this guy.
Yes, exactly.
I would argue that there's more pressure on Diaz going into this fight. Hard to go back to Stockton after you got knocked out by the problem child, right?
Everybody had that pressure on him, but I would say Anderson Silva is a better boxer than Nate Diaz. I thought Anderson Silva was a better boxer than Jake Paul. How would you compare Nate and Anderson?
Well, certainly Anderson had more experience, right? He had the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, which he looked amazing.
Win, right.
And so, yes, he has more pro boxing experience. But to your point, Nate has sparred with the likes of Andre Ward and many people in NorCal and has a lot of respect from those people. Like Andre speaks very highly of him and his brother. He trains with a great boxer in Stockton named Richard Perez, trainer. So, like, he has the respect of the community in the streets, but we've never actually seen him in a pro boxing bout.
Yeah, I mean, Ward said it that he think, just like to your point, that volume is going to be a key in this fight. Speaking of MMA, let's talk about another force that hasn't fought in Francis Ngannou championship, turned him down.
Well, can I?
Yeah, please elaborate.
That's just our producer. He knows nothing. That's what he said.
Here's the thing with that. This is like the classic, like, you and I are dating.
Whoa!
You know I'm about to break up with
you.
you.
Are you breaking this now? Is this breaking news?
You know what I'm saying?
Breaking news.
And now you're going to try to break up with me first.
Oh, okay,
you know
okay.
Like, I'm the one who called the shots right. You knew.
So he wasn't going to sign to them anyway.
You sent the preemptive text so that you could tell your homies. You know what I'm saying?
So what about Bellator? Or that other guy that wants to date you both?
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of these guys have talked to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou's been very open about what he wants. His dream is to be a boxer.
Yes.
And he thinks that he can hang with the likes of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Dillian White.
Does he really think that?
Honestly, in his heart.
Yeah?
Yes.
Wow.
His first dream was to be a boxer.
He did say that.
And he escaped from Africa, and like this guy's life is a movie. Yeah. And a lot of people say that. Legit. He used to sleep in a parking garage in France while training at a boxing gym in Paris, and a guy named Fernan Lopez found him who said, "Yo, man, you could be great in MMA. Let me show you MMA." He wanted to be Mike Tyson. Yeah. So now that he's accomplished what he accomplished in MMA, he wants to go back to boxing. And he's always said, "I want a boxing deal and an MMA deal." The boxing deal is taking a little bit longer. He's close to the MMA deal.
Yeah. Close with who?
There's two left by process of elimination. This guy's asking me the hard questions.
No, but he gave a look like, I know who, but I can't say right now. I don't want to say it on your show. I want to go back to my show.
We just want our viewers to know.
No. There's two left in the mix. It's Bellator and PFL.
Okay.
The PFL aspect would be very interesting in my opinion because of Jake Paul.
Because Jake is in it as well.
Jake is in it as well. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But all these promotions that are coming on being like, no, we're not interested. It's because they know he's not interested in them.
Wow.
And they're kind of trying to do him dirty, if you ask me. And I don't like it, and I get it. They're trying to save face because they don't want to seem like they lost out on the sweepstakes. But he's the one calling the shots, and everyone's very quick. It's very gross what's happening right now with Francis because everyone wants to kick this guy while he's down. But here's the thing: your definition of success is not his definition of success. I don't mean you in particular, but like the fans are projecting their vision and their definition of success on a guy who came from Africa who was working in sand dunes for $1 a day.
They can't relate to him at all.
He's got dreams and aspirations. Let the guy live. Let the guy go out and and then when this is all said and done, and by the way, he hasn't even announced anything, but you're going to go out and say that he took an L? We don't even know what his plans are.
Is it safe to say that the UFC ship sailed and we would never see him and John Jones fight?
A wise man once told me long ago, when it comes to the fight game, follow the money. And if the money is there, there's always a chance that something happens.
I remember when I told you that.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
It's okay.
And so
Dana already has a mic of his own. I mean,
I know, man. It's crazy, the perks that you have here. Dana White said he'll never be back. He says a lot of things.
Yeah.
If there's a John Jones fight to be had, I can't see why they would shut the door on that. But I will say this, like, take it from me. if you want to see some guys who hold grudges for life, they'll hold some grudges for life. And they feel like he turned them down when they offered him a great deal, and so they're going to dig their heels in on this one. I don't see it happening anytime soon, maybe in 2 years.
All right, so speaking of Dana White, because you brought him up, he said Power Slap is bigger than American Idol, bigger than the Super Bowl, bigger than the MMA Hour.
Good thing I don't have a mic. Because I don't want to be tied to this.
He said,
close the gate there,
Power
Josh.
Slap is bigger than the MMA Hour and
Oh,
everything
my God.
you've ever done and everything anybody's ever done.
No, listen, you joke about the MMA Hour.
Yeah.
This man was up there talking about how it was bigger than NBA, soccer, football, WWE combined. He was saying, not just bigger than this and
Is that
combined.
like the whole planet watching it?
What I want to know is, like, do you legit believe this when you're up there saying this stuff?
I don't. But I mean,
I think he does.
we know you got the inside scoop, so
No, it's not true.
it's not even close.
No, of course not. Power Slap, it was on a network. It's not on the network anymore. It's on some streaming platform that I never heard of. What are you talking about? Like, listen, I get promotion. I get trying to get the name out there and the word. I get all of that, and I respect it. You got to do that sort of thing. But come on, man. Like what are we talking about? Is bigger than freaking Premier League soccer? What are we talking about here? It's like, there's no way. We could see the numbers. There's no way. Like, the ratings came out. There's a reason why it's not on that network anymore. You guys like that stuff?
I'm not a super fan, but if the paycheck is coming, then maybe I'll go over there. No, I haven't really gotten into it. You know, I mean,
What is it?
I mean, I've only seen it on
It's a
Instagram.
little bit of skill, but I don't like that a person can't defend themselves.
What skill?
You know what I'm saying? No, to know how to slap somebody and knock them out. That's a freaking skill. No,
on,
that's
that
a
is-
skill.
Are you serious?
That's
To know,
a car
it's like
crash.
to say to know how to punch. It's a skill, right?
It's not the
But
same.
I just don't like that you can't defend yourself. That's all.
Right,
All right,
that's
listen.
a big problem.
Hold
I,
on.
I want to ask you about Taylor Cameron, but I want to slide this one in here.
Okay.
If Nate can't do it, who can?
Tommy Fury? No, you mean in MMA?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's a Tommy Fury. I'm thinking you're saying McGregor. I'm thinking you're thinking
Well,
McGregor because his hand skills
I
are
think
pretty
you want
good.
me to say McGregor.
No, I just thought
The
that's
thing
the
about
only one I can
McGregor is
think of.
McGregor
Say
is
whoever
a
you
little
want.
bit smaller than
That's
Nate.
true. Not now.
Well, now he's swole. He's swole AF.
But his hand skills, his counter punching in the MMA world is pretty good. You know.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what he does next. But he's never fought above 170 either, and he's actually more of a 155 pounder.
He
If
is.
I'm being
I
honest.
can say that.
I'll tell you what though, like. Here's the thing. I said this maybe a year and a half or so ago. We are inching ever so closely to that fight, right? As crazy it is. Conor has 2 fights left on his contract. If Jake knocks out Nate Diaz, all bets are off. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see that down the line one day.
Right.
Could you imagine how big that would be?
We got to ask him about Taylor Cameron. Before.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
that's the real main
I heard
event.
you're going to be there.
Listen,
That's history.
can I break the
in
fourth
making.
wall for a second?
Dude, go ahead.
They
Break it
said
down.
like, we can't do Diaz Paul without Helwani. That's what they call me,
Oh,
Helwani.
yeah, right.
And I was like, that's all well and good. That's fine. But I'm not doing that if I can't go to Taylor Cameron in Dublin. That
No, you
to
really
me.
did say that.
Wait, but didn't
I
you
literally
say
said that.
then also you have to bring Akim Barak as well so they can hold my bags,
They were
carry my
like,
bags?
Who's
They was
that?
like, who
They
the hell is
said.
that?
Markowski
It was like,
said,
we
who's
heard
that?
of Barack, but who's that?
Oh, the guy with the one mic.
That's right. That's right. I
The
cannot
shared
wait.
mic.
I cannot wait, guys. I went to Conor's first UFC fight in Dublin in 2014. It's the only time I've been to Dublin. And when I found out that Katie was going back, and Katie for me is like top 5 favorite athletes in the world. Like, I just think everything about her is just, epic. I can't even imagine what that scene is going to be like. And this is not being talked about enough. She had the Serrano fight. Serrano fight falls through. Serrano's fighting on this card, August 5th, Heather Hardy.
Yeah.
She said, all right, F that. She could have fought me and sold out that thing, right? She could have fought you guys and sold.
Right,
yeah.
She could have fought Josh, producer.
Right.
She's going up to
That's a
fight
win for
Sean.
sure. Josh.
Yeah, easy.
That's a win.
But
She'll
come on,
kill
man.
him.
She's going up. She has
I know.
no reason
She
to
went
go
for a
up.
harder fight.
Yes,
Per se.
140
Yeah.
to go for those titles.
Undisputed.
When you could have literally fought anyone and sold that place out. How could you not respect that, right?
No.
I don't think enough people are
No.
talking about
She's
that.
one of my
We
favorite
are.
people
We
on
definitely
earth.
are.
Do
Right.
you ever see the rematch between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano?
Yes, although, as you guys know, like, timing is key.
Wait. What if she loses though? What if Katie loses?
I still think you could do it.
Okay.
Because it'll be back down, right?
Right.
It won't be at 140. But here's the thing that I feel like timing is key, and the fact that Serrano is now fighting on this card in August, I think we were all holding out hope. Katie fights in May, and then maybe September Croke Park. Now it seems like there's no September, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't. So
I don't know. Well, look, we'll be watching from
You
America.
guys gonna be there?
Apparently not. I'm not sure, but they've been telling us
Maybe,
things last
maybe.
minute, so they might call us 2 days before and say,
I
"Now
might have
you
to
guys
spend my
go."
own money to
I'm
go there.
gonna put on a
That's
call to
historic for me.
Markowski and
Put
be
the
like,
call on.
"Come
You call the shots at the zone, really. I mean, so.
It's been said.
All right, there you have it, folks. Ariel Helwani.
Introducing the new DAZN Boxing Show podcast. No matter the time or the place, getting your boxing content has become easier than ever. Tune in as we give you exclusive insights, predictions, fight night recaps, and more alongside the biggest names in the game. All for free. Available globally every Thursday across all audio streaming platforms and with new episodes dropping weekly to give you the latest news. Just type in the DAZN Boxing Show podcast, listen in, and enjoy.